Okay, well, we're gonna try this through mobile. Hopefully, everybody should be able to hear me okay. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my makeup, which I usually do before I do a video or go live. Just kind of try this out. Then I will go through a brief service, and then I got the Gen Z Bible. So I want to go through and you get to hear some old lady read the Gen Z Bible. This is going to be fun. And then I want to compare the Gen Z Bible to the New International Version Bible, which is the one that I usually use. I do sometimes use different translations depending on what I'm looking for. Even though I was raised with the King James Version. I feel stupid. I guess first thing is I'm Elder Eliza with the Garden of Light, and we are we'll call it a new religion. It's a new interpretation of an old religion, one that is meant for the younger generations plural. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on my makeup, which means take my glasses off so I can see. And I will explain to you what being lightborn means, what the Garden of Light is. So basically, it's a new interpretation of the Bible and Christianity with some new ideas and with some rather old ideas as well. I believe that I was called by the goddess Asherah to, I apologize for the bouncing, I'm using a table, well, a drawer for a table. My husband and I travel around the country. So I am in a tractor trailer. I'm in a semi, an 18-wheeler. So if I accidentally bump the table or move stuff off of the table, it is going to shake the camera. So I believe that I was called to the goddess Asherah at 15 years old. Called to her service, I guess, would be the best way to put it, I guess. But I was called by the goddess Asherah. And it took me a long time to figure out what it was that I was hearing. Not like, voices outside, but voices inside. It's not like schizophrenia or anything. I'm clear. But I was raised Christian. I believe that, yeah, he was a real person. I don't believe that he is as he was portrayed in the Bible. I mean, not exactly. First off, myself and the other people who have joined the religion, I guess, follow me. I don't know. That listen to what I have to say, I guess. We believe that Jesus was transgender. It's not just, oh, okay, we're pulling this out of our butts. For one thing, we believe science before religion. And science says that the only way that a woman could procreate without a man's genetic material, without the Y chromosome, the only way that she could have a baby would be through parthenogenesis. Big word, bigger concept. Well, actually, kind of simple. Instead of Mary's egg being fertilized by a sperm, it kind of fertilizes itself. There are geckos. There's a lot of different lizards, but geckos in particular that procreate through parthenogenesis. This is not an exact clone per se, but more a remixing of the mother's DNA. But any child born through parthenogenesis would have to be genetically or biologically female. So if Mary did have Jesus through parthenogenesis, Jesus would not have a Y chromosome. And you have to have that Y chromosome to grow for the fetus to be able to grow male genitalia. So Jesus had to have been AFAB when he was born. The book calls him a him. We have to assume then that Jesus identified as a man. He identified as a man, but yet he was AFAB. Jesus was trans. He was transgender. Not a big leap. Yeah, he referred to himself as a man because that's how he identified. Now, was that identity because of the fact that women wouldn't have been listened to at that time in that area? Maybe. Or maybe it was divine intervention. That Jesus was trans because he was meant to be trans. Now, I'm of the belief that no matter how you see Jesus, whether you see him as trans as we do, or as the Christian religion sees him as never had sex, didn't feel romantic feelings, didn't feel sexual feelings, didn't feel any type of desire, well, he'd then be aro ace. So whether you see him as we do or as they do, I mean, he's still part of the LGBTQ. And I could have gone with that idea, but I don't believe that he was aro ace. He was trans. And there actually is a section in the Bible, in Revelations, the original Greek said Jesus had breasts. And by the way, that is the only description of Jesus in the Bible. We don't actually know what he looked like, which is why in my videos I do use various pictures to give an idea of we should see ourselves in Jesus. Nothing wrong with that. I think that we should all see ourselves in Jesus. But you should also be using Jesus to make you a better person. You should see yourself in Jesus, but you should also see him in you. So whether he was aro ace or whether he was trans, the point is that his message was love, kindness, and compassion. So that takes care of at least part of what our beliefs are. The other is that the God that watches out for us isn't Yahweh. It isn't the God of the Old Testament. And we think that that's what Jesus said too. Give me a moment here to try and figure out what I'm doing. I'm kind of new to this, not really used to talking while I'm putting on my makeup. Don't usually wear makeup except for in the videos anyway, so. We follow the goddess Ashera. Now, the goddess Asherah is an old Canaanite. And yes, that is Cain and Abel Cain. Canaanite goddess of fertility and goddess of the harvest. So this is a goddess that meant to protect her followers. Now, as far as Yahweh, also known as Elohim, I believe. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to end up messing myself up. I have it all written down on different names of different gods, and anyways, Yahweh, which is the God of the Old Testament, we don't believe that that's the God that watches out for us or helps us in our time of need. As a matter of fact, we believe that Yahweh is an evil God. He is, he is the creator of humanity. We don't dispute that. Where our dispute is that Yahweh is a good God. We believe that Yahweh is actually an evil God. And I mean, you can see it in the Bible. Yahweh decided that he didn't like humanity. Actually, in Genesis, it says that he regretted humanity. So he decided to just wipe humanity off the planet, along with everything else, according to the Bible. Anyway. According to the Bible, Yahweh regretted humanity. And, oops, my bad. Like a kid with an Etch-a-Sketch, just take it up, start all over. If the Christian God is all-knowing, all-powerful, all-merciful, all-loving, I am of the opinion if he is not one of these, then he is, or if he isn't all of these, then he is none of these. So, if in fact Yahweh, if you go by, look at the flood myth, Yahweh cannot be all-knowing, all-merciful, all good, and all loving. If he was all-knowing, then he would know that humanity would commit whatever evil it is that they're accused of committing. And then decided to flood the earth anyways, so then he's not all loving. Because if he knew humanity was going to become evil, and then knew that he was going to wipe everything out, and keep in mind, we're not talking about just humanity, okay? The ark was trying to save animals, but so he just wiped out all the animals, wiped out all the plants, okay? Because if the world is flooded, even trees can't survive a flood. They'll get root rot. That's why you have to be careful about giving too much water to your plants, to your house plants, because they'll get rot. Well, the next thing, you would think, as I did growing up, that, oh, the ocean animals would have been fine. But that's not true. None of the water marine life would have been fine. Because when you're looking at rainwater, rainwater is fresh water. Too much fresh water gets into salt water and it changes the salinity, and the animals can't survive. They'll die. Because they're adapted to live specifically in fresh water. That's why you can't put a clownfish in a freshwater tank. It'll die. Same thing happened to the oceans. Whales, dolphins, sharks would have been all gone. So now we're talking about not just all of the land animals, but the ocean, plus, you know, any freshwater animals. Birds would have had no place to land. Even animals that are adapt to living on the water, say ducks or seagulls, they still need land. Seagulls, well, both of them nest on land for one thing, but even if you're not talking about more babies, you know, they do have to get out of the water every now and then. And with the fact that all plant life would have been killed, they'd have had nothing to eat. They'd have starved to death, even if they did survive the initial 40-day flood. So basically, kid with an Etch-a-Sketch, and there goes everything. So an all-loving God would not do this, because the whole point was to get rid of evil. So, you know, you burn the whole thing down, you start all over again with whatever's in the ark. Hopefully they got some seeds to plant. There wouldn't have been enough room in the ark for 2 whales and 2 sharks, let alone everything else that's in the oceans. Plus, you'd have to make sure you had seeds for every plant. It's not logical. So either the flood didn't happen, which is what my opinion is, or you're describing a God that either didn't know humanity would turn evil, or for whatever crime he punished humanity for, which makes you not all-knowing, or you knew and you did it anyway, wiped out however million or billion people were on the planet at that time. And the Bible never even says what the crime of humanity is. I mean, yeah, it talked about wiping out the Nephilim, which I'll get to the Nephilim in a minute here. But we are talking about a God that is described in the Bible as being vengeful. He is a vengeful God, and it says that. I'm of the habit that when they tell you who they are, listen to them. And in this case, the Bible's telling you exactly who Yahweh is. That he's not a good guy. So, we don't follow Yahweh. So who do we follow? Well, I already told you that we do follow Jesus. We also follow the goddess Asherah. who actually is mentioned in the Bible. Now, but you'd have to look at it from the perspective of as it was originally put together, which was polytheistic. Christianity is monotheistic now, not polytheistic. So, if you look at it from a polytheistic point of view, the goddess Asherah was the high god El, his wife. This is the God who created everything. Not just the earth, but the all of everything. Yahweh was put in charge of the earth. Now, I believe that Yahweh and Asherah were put in charge of the earth. One God and one goddess put in charge of the earth. I don't know if that's enough. There we go. But the one God, one goddess in charge of each habitable planet. So you have the Yahweh and Asherah in charge of planet Earth. She was in fact mentioned in the Bible, and if you do a search for the name Asherah, it does come up talking about idols to the goddess Asherah. Now, the goddess Asherah is an old Canaanite god, which I believe I mentioned earlier. So a Canaanite, well, goddess in this case, along with her holy consort, the morning star, also known as Lucifer or the light bringer. In the Bible, Jesus says, I am the light. Well, light bringer brings the light. There are other references in the New Testament that when Jesus is talking about his Father in heaven, that he's not talking about Yahweh. And we get that from the Gnostics. It's kind of, sort of in our existing Bible, kind of, but more in the Gnostic texts about Jesus. So I'll get into that a little bit more in the service. So we'll call this ready for today. Give me just one moment. As soon as I just start ready, I get it. Okay. So first off, I would like to take a moment of silence for I want to take a moment of silence for our loved ones that we've lost this year. Give me 1 second. I'm an old lady who forgot to put her glasses back on. Okay. Give me 1 moment. I'm an old lady who lost her glasses. turn ahead and sitting up here. I seem to have lost my glasses. This is why I don't do very many live streams. I lose everything. I lost my glasses. I get used to having them off and don't realize that I haven't put them back on, so I try to read something. Or I somehow managed to break them because I can't see them. That's pretty good. That's a step in the right direction. Let's try getting this. Alright. Maybe if I get my mess cleaned up a little bit here, I will find out. Put some stuff away. Either find them or figure out where I knocked them to. It's my luck if I knock them down. Welcome to ADHD. Keep them under there. Welcome to ADHD. This is my life in a nutshell. The worst part about this is this is so bad that I can't see. Okay, I guess we're going to have to make this short so that I can take some time to try and figure out where my glasses went to. Okay, so I guess we're going to go through. Okay, and take a moment of silence for our fallen members of the LGBTQ that we've lost over the last year. Yeah, that's sector. Okay, so I will go through this, and I guess I will have to wait on the Gen Z Bible until next stream. We gather to honor the goddess, her horned consort, and their child of light and love, Jesus. Many have heard her voice calling them to serve and honor her. We serve and honor her by caring for her people and by caring for the planet and all the creatures on it. She does not call us to worship, as we are not slaves. We reject the evil creator God Yahweh, also called Elohim, and those who seek to do us harm in his name. Asherah comes to us in her three forms. Eve, the maiden, her innocence in the garden gave us knowledge. Mary, the mother, carried and gave birth to Jesus and gave us compassion. Lilith, the first woman, the crone, grants us wisdom. Asherah, who many call Mother Nature or the Great Mother, calls to us to follow her path. It is a path of challenges, but one of great rewards as well. We must see her challenges and step up to meet them. The goddess Asherah gave us a way to be free of the slavery of the evil creator God. She blessed us with angel DNA as we are the surviving descendants of the Nephilim. Have fun in the chat. I can't see it. I can't read it. The goddess Asherah gave us a way to be free of the slavery of the evil creator God. She blessed us with angel DNA as we are the surviving descendants of the Nephilim. She protected her children, and we now honor her as she always should have been honored. We are the surviving descendants of angels and gods, and it is our place to use our light to protect those who cannot protect themselves, to care for those who need us most, and to protect the land she gives to us. We honor her through remembering her. We honor her by caring for her earth, abandoned by the evil creator. We honor her through kindness to other people, caring for those who need us most, and we honor her through physical intimacy with other consenting adults. We fight against evil and bigotry, especially from those who worship and are enslaved by the evil creator God Yahweh. Through the many millennium, she who is kindness personified and deified has protected her chosen children to care for her earth. When the God Yahweh abandoned this world, it was she who brought us the light, the child of light, Jesus. By taking a piece of her own immortal soul and that of her horned consort, Lord Lucifer, she created a two-spirited child and placed that child within the womb of one of her children, Mary. Only children of light can look upon the angels without going mad, and they are as we are. Lucifer, also known as the Lightbringer, offered a part of his own immortal soul to the two-spirited child to bring to us his light. Jesus says, "Come to me, my children, for I am the light," the child of the Lightbringer. Mary was human just as we are, but yet was entrusted to be the mother to the most unique soul ever created, Jesus, the child of light, who brings us closer to her light. Lucifer, not to be confused with Satan, is a creature of light, but has also walked among us. Known as the morning star, Lucifer lights the way in our life to show us kindness and compassion for our fellow man. He wishes upon us knowledge and acceptance. He is the great hunter and the protector of humanity. It is from him we get our strength to keep going when life seems so hard. Asherah is the great mother. When Yahweh abandoned the earth and the sentient beings he had created, Asherah protected us, guided us, and gifted us the plants of the earth, not just to sustain us, but also to heal us. She gave us the ability to learn what could help us and what could hurt us. Lord Lucifer gave us the knowledge to cultivate and raise animals that could provide things like food and clothing. And the goddess Asherah gave us the compassion to recognize that some animals could be our companions. While we will breed certain animals to make those animals more fruitful in their gifts to us, others are there to protect the delicate ecosystems we live in. We have been entrusted to protect those animals who also protect. Ooh. I don't know what I did. I hit something. While we will breed certain animals to make those animals more fruitful in their gifts to us, others are there to protect the delicate ecosystems that we live in. We have been entrusted to protect those animals who also protect our delicate ecosystems. We honor the Great Mother by caring for her creatures and not killing needlessly. We honor her by caring for each other and by making sure the most vulnerable among us are protected. We honor her by honoring her precious two-spirited children and protecting them as they are her most precious children. Those of us who do not feel as if we fit in anywhere are accepted by the Great Mother, the great goddess Asherah. We are all children of the Great Mother, all children of light, and are all accepted in the eyes of our Great Mother. Jesus was sent to us to both save us from the cruelty of the evil creator God, but also to teach us the way of light. Light, when passed through water, becomes a rainbow, showing us all that there can be. It shows us the green of the plants, the yellow of the sun, the blue of the sky, and the red of our blood. We see the entirety of the world in the light, and without that light, we cannot see it all. Asherah, through Jesus, teaches us to be kind to our fellow man. She teaches us to have compassion for those less fortunate, as there is always someone who has less than we do. We must be kind and care for the sick, for the elderly, and the disabled. We recognize that mental illness is a disease of our world and will care for those who are suffering from this illness just as we would the child dying of cancer. We recognize that being a member of the LGBTQIA2S+ community does not mean one is mentally ill, but are just as the goddess created us and as she intended us to be. That a great many things are not set in stone, but are a spectrum. From human sexuality and identity to things like ASD and ADHD, we wish to show kindness to everyone along the entire spectrum of humanity. We protect the most vulnerable as the Great Mother protects us in this world. So, for right now, I'm going to have to cut it there. I need to find my glasses. So I'm going to try to do another live stream coming up this Saturday, hopefully, if everything goes well. I'm going to shoot for about 8 o'clock at night, Central Time, so a little bit earlier than it was today, but I'm going to try and shoot for next Saturday at 8 o'clock Central. So, blessed be y'all. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons so that you are notified next time I go live. Thank you. Blessed be.